The ultimate subtle power move is selling you your own dream and then using that dream to control your every move today.
Just let that sink in for a second. The most powerful form of control isn't some obvious in-your-face command. Nope, it's seduction. It's when someone convinces you that their agenda is actually your deepest desire. Think about a genius marketer. They don't just sell you a phone, they sell you a creative identity, a lifestyle, a dream of who you could be if you just buy in. That's the mechanism. It's this quiet, sneaky process that works just below the surface of our awareness, whispering these little suggestions that we mistake for our own brilliant ideas. So today, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna deconstruct it. We're pulling back the curtain on one of the most powerful, invisible forces that shapes your decisions, everywhere from the boardroom to your own dinner table: authority bias. We're gonna see how it's built, why our brains are so eager to fall for it, and this is the important part, how you can see it coming and take back your own power to decide. So this gets us to the central paradox, right? The core illusion that this entire system is built on. See, the most potent kind of control, the kind that gets good people to do things that go against their own better judgment, it isn't earned through real, verifiable expertise. It's not about diplomas on the wall or a proven track record. It is performed. It's an act, fueled by sheer, unwavering confidence. Think about that charismatic founder who can sell a grand vision without a single line of code written, or the politician who makes these bold, sweeping promises with no real plan. We are socially, and as we're about to see, evolutionarily programmed to obey anyone who masters the performance of authority. And that performance, it's a steady voice, it's direct eye contact, assertive body language, speaking without even a hint of hesitation. All these cues that our ancient primal brain reads as competence, no matter what words are actually coming out of their mouth. Now, what's really fascinating here is that word trait. This isn't just something that's happening to you. It's a deal, an unconscious transaction your brain makes without even asking you. You are actively, though you don't know it, giving away your critical judgment, your ability to really analyze a situation in exchange for something your brain absolutely craves. That psychological comfort, that certainty of just following a decisive leader. It's a shortcut. It offloads the really heavy work of making a decision. Picture it. You're in a crisis at work. A confident manager walks in and says, okay, here's the plan. We do A, then B, then C. Go. Can you feel that sense of relief? You don't have to think anymore. The uncertainty is gone. This is an ancient survival program that, in our super complex modern world, leaves you wide open and vulnerable to anyone who just sounds like they know what they're talking about, even if their plan is leading everyone right off a cliff. And that leads us from the outside performance of power to what it feels like on the inside when you're caught in that web. It is a deeply unsettling feeling, a trap that so many people feel but can't quite put into words. It's that feeling of just going along with something. You're nodding your head in a meeting, you're agreeing to the plan, you're following the order, but your gut, that primal voice deep inside you, is just screaming that something is off, something is wrong. You get that knot in your stomach, you want to speak up, but the words just won't come out. That social pressure to just conform, to not be the difficult one, is just immense. That right there is the compliance trap, and it's where our personal integrity can go to die a very quiet death. Compliance without conviction. That's the psychological bind at the very heart of authority bias. It's this state of internal war, right? A kind of cognitive dissonance where your actions are totally out of sync with your beliefs. And this isn't some new idea. This is the exact dynamic they explored in those famous and frankly terrifying Milgram experiments back in the 60s. Ordinary people just like you and me, were brought into a lab, and a guy in a white lab coat, the authority figure, told them to give what they thought were increasingly painful, even dangerous, electric shocks to another person. And a shocking number of them, even while hearing screams of agony, just kept obeying the guy in the lab coat all the way to the maximum voltage. This just shows us the raw, terrifying power of perceived authority to completely override our own moral compass. And the result for us in our daily lives is this paralyzing self-doubt where you start to trust the authority's confidence way more than your own instincts. And there's a technical name for this psychological shift, this exact moment we hand over the keys to our own morality. It's called the agentic state. And you have to understand this concept. Think of it like this. Normally, you're the driver of your own car. You decide where to go, when to turn, when to hit the brakes. You're responsible. But in the agentic state, you willingly climb into the passenger seat and you let the authority figure take the wheel. You stop seeing yourself as the one in charge of your actions. Instead, you become an agent, just a tool carrying out someone else's wishes. And here's the most dangerous part.
In this state, you feel absolved of any moral responsibility. If the car crashes, hey, it wasn't your fault, you weren't driving. The decision wasn't yours, so the consequences aren't yours either. This is the moment control truly and completely shifts from you to them.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. The psychological territory you're giving up when that shift happens. On the left, you've got the autonomous state. This is you at your best, responsible, thinking critically, being independent. On the right, the agentic state, passive, obedient, and feeling totally absolved of the outcome. And the jump from left to right isn't some big explosion. It's a quiet, subtle slide. It happens in that meeting where you don't say anything because the boss just seems so sure of himself. It happens when you follow a process that you know is broken because, well, that's just how we do things here. It happens without you even realizing it, but the consequences are huge. It leads to bad decisions, disengagement, and a total loss of your own sense of agency.
Okay, so how does this happen? How does one confident person so easily push us from that autonomous state into the agentic one? Well, it's not magic, and it's not some rare charisma that only a few people are born with. It's a system, a predictable and, more importantly, an exploitable system with clear mechanics, clear leverage points, and like any system, once you understand how it's built, the gears, the levers, the triggers, you can start to see it for what it is. You can see it happening in real time and make a conscious choice about how you want to respond. So let's break it down. Let's look at the architecture of this authority system.
The whole system kicks off with what psychologists call authority cues. These are the specific, often unspoken signals that your brain has been trained over thousands of years to recognize as signs of power and high status. It's the doctor's white coat that immediately signals expertise. It's the CEO's job title on a business card, which just screams hierarchical power. It's that consultant's confident, unwavering voice, deep, measured, not a hint of doubt. It's their assertive posture, taking up space, leaning in. It's even the use of specialized jargon or complicated acronyms that makes you feel like they're in a special club and you're not, creating this intellectual gap. These cues are shortcuts. They're symbols that switch on your brain's ancient obey circuit before your rational mind even has a chance to boot up. So here's the leverage point. This is the crucial part. These cues, the uniform, the title, the tone of voice, they're like a key in a lock. They bypass your rational, analytical brain and go straight for the old hardware, the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for survival instincts. It's an obedience trigger. Now, why did we evolve this? Well, for most of human history, quickly spotting and following a leader was a massive survival advantage. When the leader of the tribe pointed and yelled, "Run," you didn't have time to form a committee and debate the pros and cons of running. You just ran. Following that authority cue was the safest bet. It's an automatic process designed for survival. But in our modern world, where anyone can fake the cues, it's dangerously easy to exploit. And this interaction creates this incredibly powerful, self-reinforcing feedback loop. Let's just walk through it. Step 1. The authority figure projects those cues, the confident tone, the expensive suit. Step 2. You automatically comply. This could be as small as nodding along or as big as not speaking up about a plan you know is flawed. Step 3. Your compliance instantly reinforces their confidence. Their belief that they're a competent leader is validated by you just going along with it. Step 4. Their now boosted confidence makes you see them as even more correct. You see them getting more confident and your trust in them deepens. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy where your compliance literally reinforces the very authority that's commanding you. This loop can spin up so fast, turning one confident statement into an unquestioned group reality in just minutes. So we've just mapped out the external system, the cues, the triggers, the feedback loop. We've seen how it works on the outside. Now let's pop the hood on our own brains and really understand why we are so susceptible to this. Why do we so willingly put ourselves on autopilot and follow these cues even when we have a bad feeling about it? Well, the answer comes down to two of your brain's most fundamental, non-negotiable priorities.
Your brain is fundamentally lazy. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it's efficient. It evolved in a world of scarcity, and its number one job is to conserve mental energy. Thinking critically, weighing your options, debating, risk analysis, making a totally independent decision, all of that burns a massive amount of cognitive fuel. But obeying a leader, that requires almost zero energy. It's the mental equivalent of coasting downhill. And priority number 2, avoid social conflict. For our tribal ancestors, challenging someone, especially a high-status leader, was incredibly risky. It could get you kicked out of the group, which for most of human history was basically a death sentence. So your brain is hardwired to seek harmony and avoid rocking the boat. And authority bias is this brilliant cognitive shortcut that satisfies both of these powerful ancient priorities at the exact same time.
This mental shortcut has a name. It's a heuristic. A heuristic is just a fancy word for a rule of thumb our brain uses to make decisions fast and cut down on thinking. And we use them all the time. For authority bias, the specific rule is the expert knows best heuristic. Now, your brain is most likely to use this shortcut when it's under heavy cognitive load. Think about when you're stressed, tired, hungry, or you're facing a really complex problem with a ton of moving parts. In those moments, your ability to think critically just plummets. Your brain searches for the easiest path forward, and it decides that, you know what, outsourcing the decision to the expert in the room is the safest, most efficient move. It saves precious energy and avoids that potential social pain of arguing. And this is the critical mistake. This is the moment that shortcut becomes a trap. This is where it snaps shut. Your brain, in its desperate search for efficiency, takes the shortcut and makes a dangerous, often fatal assumption. It confuses the performance of confidence with actual proof of correctness. Let me say that again, because it's the entire illusion in a nutshell. You mistake confidence for competence. Just because someone sounds certain doesn't mean they're right. Just because they don't hesitate doesn't mean they have the data to back it up. But in that moment, under pressure, your brain accepts one as evidence of the other, and you follow them right down the path without ever checking the map. And let's not forget about the second big psychological lever here, which is just as powerful as saving energy. Fear. Not fear of getting physically hurt, but the deep, primal fear of an identity threat. I mean, from the time we're kids, we are conditioned to obey authority. Parents, teachers, coaches. We are taught to avoid the intense social pain of being labeled as insubordinate, disrespectful, not a team player, or just difficult. And that conditioning follows us right into our careers, creating this massive disincentive to ever question authority. We become dependent on the approval of others for our own psychological safety. And that dependency leads directly to automatic, uncritical compliance, because the perceived cost of speaking up just feels way too high. Okay, so we've deconstructed the problem. We've taken the entire system apart and looked at all the pieces. We get the external cues, we get the internal psychology that makes it all work. Now let's shift to the solution. And this isn't going to be some abstract theory. This is a tactical guide. Think of this next part as a form of cognitive self-defense. We are going to arm you with a clear, step-by-step protocol for reclaiming your autonomy, for disabling the system when you see it being used, and for making damn sure that your decisions are truly your own. All right, here is the core principle of the entire countermeasure. If you remember absolutely nothing else from this explainer, remember this. This is the single most important thing you need to do. You have to learn to perform a kind of mental surgery in real time. You have to precisely, cleanly, and deliberately separate the messenger from the message. You have to mentally disconnect the source of the power, the person, their fancy title, their uniform, their unshakable confidence, from the actual content, the logic, the data of what they're telling you to do. You have to evaluate the idea as if it were presented to you anonymously, stripped of all the status cues that are trying to hotwire your brain. And here is the simple, powerful tool, the mental scalpel, if you will, to perform that surgery. It's called the separation test. The next time you get a command from an authority figure and you feel that automatic urge to comply, you just pause and you ask yourself this one simple question, just internally. If a 5-year-old told me this, would the logic still stand on its own? I mean, imagine a super confident executive says, we need to pour our entire marketing budget into this new, untested social media channel right now. Your first instinct is to nod, but then you run the test. Imagine a little kid saying the exact same thing. Suddenly, your brain isn't impressed by the source anymore. It's forced to look at the message itself. Is it logical to go all in on something untested? Probably not. That one question instantly strips the messenger of all their authority and forces you to judge the idea purely on its own merits.
So if the logic feels a little shaky after you've run that internal separation test, you can then choose to engage the full challenge protocol. It's 4 simple, strategic steps. First, and this is the most important, just pause. Take a breath, count to 3. This simple little act disrupts your brain's automatic compliance script and gives your rational mind a second to catch up. Second, perform the separation test internally, just like we talked about. Third, and this is tactically crucial, do not challenge the person or the command directly. Saying, I think you're wrong, just creates conflict and makes them defensive. Instead, you question the underlying data. You shift the focus from opinion to evidence. And fourth, You do that with a specific, non-confrontational question that comes from a place of curiosity. You ask something like, "That's an interesting direction. To help me get up to speed, could you walk me through the top 2 or 3 factors you consider to arrive at that decision?"
And that question, it's not just a question, it's a diagnostic tool. The response you get will tell you everything you need to know about who you're dealing with. A true expert, someone whose authority is based on actual competence, will almost always welcome that question. They'll lean in, they'll be happy to explain their reasoning, they'll show you the numbers. Their confidence comes from their understanding, and they want you to understand it too. But a performer, a manipulator whose authority is built only on confidence, they'll react very differently. They will deflect, they'll change the subject, or they'll signal that they're annoyed with their tone or body language. They might say something like, "Look, just trust me on this," or "We don't have time to get into the weeds." Their goal isn't to share information, it's to protect their status. And your simple, curious question is a direct threat to their entire performance. All right, we're coming to our conclusion now, our final strategic insight. And it's so important to understand that deference, this habit of just automatically giving into authority, isn't just a cognitive shortcut. It's a powerful and frankly addictive mental habit. It's comfortable, it feels safe, it gets you off the hook for being responsible. For a lot of people, questioning authority feels like walking a tightrope with no net. It's risky, it takes energy. And just like any habit, especially one that provides comfort, it has to be actively and consciously broken through practice, over and over again. It's a muscle that you have to choose to build. So here's the bottom line. Your autonomy, your freedom of thought and action, it is not your default state. It's not free. It has a cost. And that cost is cognitive labor. You know, just like physical fitness requires the effort of going to the gym, mental freedom requires the effort of exercising your critical thinking. It is your willingness to do the hard work of pausing when you want to comply, of questioning when you just want to agree, of separating the messenger from the message, and evaluating information on its own terms. Resisting this incredibly powerful bias takes conscious effort, and that effort is the price of genuine intellectual and professional freedom. So we leave you with this final thought. A diagnostic tool to check the health of any system you find yourself in. The true mark of control is the absence of a question. When you are in an environment, a meeting, a team, a company, a relationship, where questions are discouraged or deflected or just don't happen at all, you are in the presence of a powerful authority system at work. The most controlled people aren't the ones who are silenced by force. They're the ones who have been conditioned to silence themselves, the ones who have simply stopped asking why. So the next time you feel that pressure to just comply, remember to pause and find your question. It is the first and most powerful step toward taking back control.